أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قول والصلاة والسلام على رسوله الكريم أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Welcome everybody to our Quran class, as we are going through as much of the Quran as we can, just to understand. We are in the midst of Surah Yusuf. In this, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala narrates to us the whole of the qissa of Yusuf alayhi salam. And there are just countless number of benefits that we can derive from the story with each ayah, and we can just delve into so many things within each ayah. Unfortunately, due to the lack of time, we're trying to just highlight some of the key things, that some major takeaways from the ayat. And yesterday, where we concluded, we really saw Yusuf alayhi salam come into power, and basically the trajectory that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had set for Yusuf kind of be in place, right? And what we were talking about yesterday, in summary, was how when the start of the ayat yesterday, he was in prison and he was sharing his wisdom of dream interpretation with his fellow inmates and taking care of them and helping them out. And by the end of it, the king offered him the lofty position, right? And he said that you can, you're basically going to be under my protection, right? Makinun Amin. You have a firm accommodation, a trusted, clear accommodation from us. And not only that, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala explained وَكَذَلِكَ مَكَّنَّا لِيُوسُفَ فِي الْأَرْضِ, and that's how we established Yusuf alayhi salam on this earth. And وَنُضِيعُ أَجْرَ الْمُحْسِنِينَ, and this is how we compensate who do good, who show ihsan. And right after that, to recognize, going basically from the lowest of the lows to being one of the most powerful individuals in the society, with the wealth, the status, the home, everything was basically provided for him. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminds us at the very end of that section and says, وَالْأَجْرُ الْآخِرَةِ خَيْرٌ, the reward in the hereafter is surely better, is definitely better. لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَكَانُوا يَتَّقُونَ, for the ones who believe and who have fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So now that Yusuf alayhi salam, he's been established as the head of the treasury department, and the kind of this next series of events is that first 7 years they go by, right? And as Yusuf alayhi salam predicted, it was normal years where they were getting crops, and they were able to store the crops in Egypt for the ones that weren't going to be used. And now people in the surrounding areas who weren't aware and did not take the same precautions, they're now coming in and trying to get a ration for themselves, right? So those 7 good years have gone by, and now it's the drought has started. It's hit them hard, and produce is short, the grain is short, and so people are basically coming in and they bring some item to trade in, and it's subsidized, of course, but the idea is you bring something and you get something back for each member of your household. So now the next ayah number 58 starts here. وَجَاءَ إِخْوَةُ يُوسُفَ فَدَخَلُوا عَلَيْهِ, and the brothers of Yusuf alayhi salam, they came. And dakhalu alayhi means they presented themselves before him. فَعَرَفَهُمْ وَهُمْ لَهُ مُنْكِرُونَ, he recognized them, but they did not recognize him. They were nakira. To him, they were munkirun. They had no idea who this was. And this could be, due to many reasons. One of them being the fact that Yusuf alayhi salam was fairly young at the time that he was thrown into the well. So over the years he has matured and he has grown, and when you grow from such a younger age, your face, your body seems to change. These other brothers, they had already matured, they were older, they were in usba according to themselves, as we mentioned before. And so these individuals, Yusuf salam was able to recognize them. وَلَمَّا جَهَّزَهُمْ بِجَهَازِهِمْ, now when they were loaded, jahazahum bi jahazim, when they were loaded with their provisions to eat. Basically, Yusuf took the provisions that they were supposed to be had, but he also gave them more, right? And in between the lines, what we're really seeing here is they were probably asking Yusuf for more and saying, we have a father who's old, he's not able to come, so can we get some provisions for him? And we have this other brother, he didn't come, can we also get some provisions for him? And so the question was like, okay, why didn't your brother come? And now they're trying to explain to him, Yusuf and the conversation picks up. And he, being Yusuf, he's saying, bring to me your brother who is from your father's side, meaning your stepbrother, the one who you relate to only through your father. Right? بِأَخِلَّكُم مِّنْ أَبِيكُمْ أَلَا تَرَوْنَ أَنِّي أُوفِي الْكَيْلَ. And did you not see that I gave you full measures? I hooked you up, right? أُوفِي الْكَيْلَ, I filled your stuff up. وَأَنَا خَيْرُ الْمُنزِلِينَ, and I am the best of hosts. I'm the one who gives extra, who gives gifts, right? So Yusuf is basically saying, okay, I'll buy your story this time. I'll take you that you have a brother who didn't come with you, so I'll give you guys extra. I'll hook you up. I'll even give you his portion, even though he's not here, and that's against the law. But I'll take care of you guys. But the condition is that next time when you come, you have to bring him. You have to bring your brother the next time you come. فَإِن لَمْ تَأْتُونِي, and if you don't bring him to me, right? If you don't bring him to me, فَإِن لَمْ تَأْتُونِي بِهِ فَلَا كَيْلَ لَكُمْ عِنْدِي, then you're not going to get anything. Forget just one share of his extra, then you're not going to get anything. Because then, you guys could be lying. How do I know that you actually have a brother back home that you're taking extra food for, that I'm giving you a break in the law and giving you some more food? Right? So, if you don't do that, فَلَا كَيْلَ لَكُمْ عِنْدِي, then I'm not going to give you anything. And not only وَلَا تَقْرَبُونَ, and don't even come near me. Don't even think twice about coming if you're not going to be bringing your brother with you. Right? فَإِن لَمْ تَأْتُونِي بِهِ فَلَا كَيْلَ لَكُمْ عِنْدِي وَلَا تَقْرَبُونَ قَالُوا سَنُرَاوِدُ عَنْهُ. And they said, سَنُرَاوِدُ عَنْهُ. Right? And this word نُرَاوِدُ, right? راوَدَ يُرَاوِدُ, it has come before. Right? And in that context, it was the Aziz's wife, and it was coming in the idea of seduction. Right? She was trying to change the mind of Yusuf alayhi salam to approach her. That was the context being provided at that time. Now, who are they trying to change their mind up? Right? Sanurawidu anhu, we shall persuade him, abahu, his father, about him, meaning about Binyamin. So now these brothers, they see, oh man, we're gonna have to really work on our dad, because he doesn't trust us right now. He's never gonna send Binyamin with us. وَإِنَّ لَفَاعِلُونَ. But at that time he said, we'll definitely do it. We'll take care of it. Don't worry about it. Before they were like, oh, it's going to be a challenge. It's going to be a hassle. We're going to really have to convince our dad. But by the end, وَإِنَّ لَفَاعِلُونَ. Okay, got it. We got it. We'll take care of it. Thanks for hooking us up. Right? That's the kind of attitude that they're portraying. وَقَالَ لِفِتْيَانِهِ. And Yusuf Islam, he turns and he says to his servant, right? اجعلوا بضاعتهم في رحالهم. So he said to his servant, to the boy that was there, put their bida'atin. Bida'at is the goods that they brought to sell for their ration, right? Put those goods, put them back in their rihalihim, in their bags. Basically, rihla is a journey, and rihal is what you would take, like a suitcase, whatever you would take to go upon that journey. Fi rihalihim. So put it back in their bags, basically. لَعَلَّهُمْ يَعْرِفُونَهَا. So perhaps they will recognize it. إِذَا انْقَلَبُوا إِلَى أَهْلِهِمْ, when they get back to their families. Meaning that put it in a way that they won't recognize it now, but when they get back, they're going to see, oh wait, our stuff's been returned. Wow, we didn't even have to pay all of what we had brought, and we didn't have to sell it. we don't have to sell it, and we still got all our shares back. Right? That's the idea. لَعَلَّهُمْ يَرْجِعُونَ, so perhaps they return. Now, in here, Mufassirun, they mentioned that the idea that Yusuf understood, because of what they had brought forth in the first place to actually exchange for their food, was not a lot of things. Bida'at is just like some items, right, without too much value. So he realized that the economic catastrophe had struck them hard, and so he refunded them what they bought, so that they don't have to scrounge up anything else, or maybe even if they weren't able to scrounge up something else, and then they would think, oh man, we don't have anything to take, so we're not going to be able to go. We're not going to be able to go to Misr and get our supply of food next year. So he basically returned those things to them so that they would definitely come back next year. فَلَمَّا رَجَعُوا إِلَىٰ أَبِيهِمْ, so when they returned to their father now. So now the caravan headed back, and they go back to their father. قَالُوا يَا أَبَانَا مُنِعَ مِنَّا الْكَيْلِ, they said, oh father, our مُنِعَ مِنَّا الْكَيْلِ, like our grain, like whatever it was withheld from us, meaning it will be withheld for us, essentially. فَأَرْسِلْ مَعَنَا أَخَانَا, and so send with us our brother. So they're basically telling their father that, hey, Dad, if you don't send Binyamin with us next year, we're not getting any food, right? معنا أخانا نقتل وإن له لحافظون, and so that we would be able to receive our full measure, so that we can receive our full measure, and وإن له لحافظون, and we'll definitely protect him and be guardians over him, right? And they've said this before too, at the time when they were trying to take Yusuf alayhi salam. So they made this claim at that time, and now they're making it a second time, right? So now it continues. قال هل آمنكم عليه إلا كما آمنتكم على أخيه من قبل. And Yaqub alayhi salam, he's also, he is a prophet, and he has forbearance, and he cares for his kids, but he's not going to let it happen again. And he said, هل آمنكم عليه, should I trust you about him? إلا كما آمنتكم على أخيه من قبل, just as I trusted you earlier with his brother, and you made the same promises at that time. فالله خير الحافظين, and it is Allah who is the best guardian. Right? So Yaqub alayhi salam, immediately he realizes that he lost it a little bit, right? That he got a little angry with them. That he's saying that, you guys, I'm gonna trust you with him as I trusted you. Like he's staying here, I'm gonna protect him here. But then he realizes that no matter what, فَاللَّهُ خَيْرُ الْحَافِظِينَ, it is Allah who is the best protector, not me, not anyone else, not this usba, not these individuals who claim to be strong and mighty. Nobody. It's Allah. وَهُوَ أَرْحَمُ الرَّاحِمِينَ, and He's the most merciful and the all merciful. وَلَمَّا فَتَحُوا مَتَاعَهُمْ, and when they opened their bags, right? When now they got home, they're unpacking, and they open up the bags. وَجَدُوا بِضَاعَتَهُمْ رُدَّتْ إِلَيْهِمْ, and they saw that the things that they had brought with him, right? They were all returned to them. قَالُوا يَا أَبَانَا مَا نَبْغِي, and they said to their father, right? And they said, "Oh father, oh our father, what else do you want? Look at this, is a sign, right? Ma nabghi is just like exclamation mark, exclamation. What do you? This is like, look at this. هذه بضاعتنا ردت إلينا. These are our capital. These are our things that we had taken. These have been returned to us. وَنُمِرُوا أَهْلَنَا, and we shall bring food for our family. وَنَحْفَظُ أَخَانَا, and we will protect our brother. وَنَزْدَادُ كَيْلَ بَعِيرٍ, and we shall bring an extra load of an extra camel load back of food, right? ذَلِكَ كَيْلُ يَسِيرٌ, this is such an easy thing to do. This is such an easy way to make money. كَيْلُ يَسِيرٌ, like literally easy money. All you have to do is just send us our brother with us, and we'll come back with even more food. Look, they already just returned everything that we had taken to them to trade anyways. And Yaqub alayhi salam now responds, قَالُوا لَنْ أُرْسِلَهُ مَعَكُمْ حَتَّى تُؤْتُونِي مَوْثِقًا مِّنَ اللَّهِ. Right? And he says, I shall never send him with you. And they're like, oh, Man, come on, Dad. But then he adds in this hatta tu'tuni mawthiqan min Allah, until you give me a pledge. And mawthiqa is the same letters from mithaq, right? Mithaqun ghalidan, like and a very binding covenant. So this is just it's a mubalagha of that. So mawthiqa, like a very strong pledge. And this pledge is the type of a pledge that is both parties fully understand what they're getting into. So you're going to give me a pledge in the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. La ta'tunanni bihi, that you'll definitely bring him back. You will do whatever it takes to bring him back. Illa an yuhata bikum, except for, you're overpowered or you're surrounded, right? Maybe there's a raid going on and the opposing gang or caravan is surrounding you, right? Except for undue circumstances, you're gonna try your best to bring him back. فَلَمَّا آتُوهُ مَوْثِقَهُمْ, and so when they gave him their pledge, they took their pledge. قَالَ اللَّهُ عَلَى مَا نَقُولُ وَكِيلٌ, and he said, Allah is watchful over what you say. Meaning, now the matter has been turned to Allah. You have taken such a strong pledge that you will do whatever you can do to protect Binyamin, now the brother of Yusuf salam, and now he is in your hands. So Allahu ala ma naqulu wakil. It is in Allah's hand. It's basically whatever you say is with Allah. وَقَالَ يَا نَبِيَّ وَقَالَ يَا بُنَيَّ, sorry. And he said, "Oh my sons." He said, "Oh my sons." Even as a father, as he might have been frustrated, mad, but at the end of the day, he is their father. So he's giving them some nasiha as they're leaving. Ya bunayya, right? Qala ya bani, sorry, oh my son. La tadkhulu min babin wahidin. Don't enter from the single door from the same time at the same time. Wadkhulu min abwabin mutafarriqatin. Enter from various doors. And mutafarriqin also has the idea that they are distance apart. Make sure that they are some distance apart. Now, he just mentioned the fact that illa an yuhata bikum, that you are overpowered or you're surrounded, right? So the thought process in his head is, if people see there's 10 dudes coming in on camels full of food and it's harsh economic time, they're gonna go after them. That, oh man, this is a good place to lay siege on. So that's one understanding. Or it could also be the fact that they could get nazar put on them if they all they're like, wow, there's 10 of you sons, huh? And you all belong to the same father, huh? Right? So Yaqub alayhi salam, in his wisdom and his hikmah, he's telling them, just space you guys self apart and make sure nobody recognizes that you guys are all coming from the same place. وَمَا أُغْنِي عَنْكُم مِّنَ اللَّهِ مِنْ شَيْءٍ. But at the same time, he recognizes that I cannot help you with in any way against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, i.e. the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is basically the fine line that you tie your camel, and you have reliance on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you do what you can to make sure that you're not creating a scene by all coming in at the same time with 10 of you, 10 camels, 10 full loads of barley and wheat that's going to be coming back, right? So Yaqub alayhi salam saying, you do this, but this I can't guarantee that you're going to be protected from everything. In al hukmu illa lillah, right? That sovereignty, the true sovereignty of control and command, it belongs only to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Alayhi tawakkaltu. So in him I place my trust. Wa alayhi falyatawakkalil mutawakkilun, and in him you should also in him should trust of those who trust be put, right? Meaning the ones who trust, they should only put their trust in him. They should only put his trust with him. وَلَمَّا دَخَلُوا مِنْ حَيْثُ أَمَرَهُمْ. And so when they entered, how did they enter? مِنْ حَيْثُ أَمَرَهُمْ أَبُوهُم, as their father had advised them. So now they come to the city, they enter as their father has advised them. مَا كَانَ يُغْنِي عَنْهُم مِنَ اللَّهِ مِنْ شَيْءٍ. And he could not help them in any way against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is like a kind of like an insertion by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by saying and clarifying that yes, they did what they did and they followed their dad's command, but that would not have provided anything against against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in any regards. right? If Allah had willed for them to be harmed, they would have definitely been harmed. But إلا حاجة في نفس يعقوب قضاءها. And so it was just an urge. It was just something that was in the heart of Yaqub alayhi salam that he wanted to have done, and they did it, right? And it was satisfied. And he satisfied. He basically told them to do it, and they did it. وَإِنَّهُ لَذُو عِلْمٍ, right? And but at the same time, he was a man of knowledge. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is signifying that yes, he had this want, this desire, this request, and it wasn't just a whim. He was a wise man. He didn't just make things up. So respect what he had to say. ولكن أكثر الناس so وإنه لذو علم لما علمناه ولكن أكثر الناس لا يعلمون. However, most people do not know. So Yaqub alayhi salam, he had knowledge that we had taught him. علمناه, that we had taught him. Right? And however, most people, they don't know. وَلَمَّا دَخَلُوا عَلَى يُوسُفَ أَوَى إِلَيْهِ أَخَاهُ. And when they came to Yusuf, right? أَوَى إِلَيْهِ أَخَاهُ, meaning he found himself some time or a way to be with his brother, Binyamin. And he found a way to be close to Binyamin. And he says, now Yusuf is speaking to him, قَالَ إِنِّي أَنَا أَخُوكَ. He's saying, it is me. Certainly it's me. I am your brother. Right? And so Yusuf is like really excited, right? And he wants to show that like, hey man, remember the one you lost in the well? This is me right here. Ana akhuka. فلا تبتئس بما كانوا يعملون. And so now they're like, there's an emotional scene going on. They're hugging and crying, and Yusuf is consoling his brother. He says, don't grieve for whatever they've been doing to you, right? تبتئس بما كانوا يعملون. Whatever they've been doing to you, you're safe now. You're in my hand. I'll take care of you. فَلَمَّا جَهَّزَهُمْ بِجَهَازِهِمْ. Remember, same ayah before. So he filled their bags. He gave them what they wanted. He basically packed them to the brim. جَهَّزَهُمْ بِجَهَازِهِمْ. جَعَلَ السِّقَايَةُ فِي رَحْلِ أَخِيهِ. And as he packed their bags to the brim, he placed the siqaya. Siqaya is not just a cup, but a goblet. And it's signifying of a goblet that you drink from, but you don't actually pour it yourself. Meaning you're at such a social elite class that this cup, it just gets filled by itself, right? So that's a siqaya, and it shows the honor and dignity that comes with that. So جعل سقاية في رحل أخيه, and then he took this goblet, this bowl, and he packed it in the suitcase of his bag, of his brother, essentially. ثم أذن مؤذن. Then the caller called out, right? أذن مؤذن means the announcer whose designated job was whenever something was to go wrong, he was just going to be making the alarm. That was his job. أيتها العير. Oh, you people of the caravan. Al-Ir are the people of the caravan, right? So ayyatuha al-Ir, oh you people of the caravan. Innakum lasariqun. Right? We have been informed that you are thieves, essentially, or certainly you guys are thieves. So this caller, he basically is blaring out an alarm and saying, you guys, right? Beep 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 beep. You guys have some merchandise that you didn't check out. That's kind of the scene that's being created here. قالوا. And now the gang of brothers, they turn, right? They call themselves an usba. وَأَقْبَلُوا عَلَيْهِمْ. And they turning towards them, right? Not just saying like, okay, what's going on? But they got like, whoa, what do you mean we're thieves? Right? ماذا تفقدون? What's missing? What's been stolen? Right? قالوا نفقد سواع الملك. And now they said, what's what's missing, or we're missing Suwa al-Malik, the cup of the king. Suwa now further elaborates that this is not just any cup or bowl, it's one that's made out of gold or silver. And it not just any one of that, it's the one that belongs to the king. Suwa al-Malik. وَلِمَنْ جَاءَ بِهِ حِمْلُ بَعِيرٍ. Right? And whoever brings it back shall get a camel load. Himlu ba'id. He's going to get a camel load of food. And so now he was basically saying, if any one of you guys, know who did it, just tell it to us, and we'll give you an extra camel load for ratting them out. وَأَنَا بِهِ زَعِيمٌ, and I am definitely sure of it. Like, I stand by what I said. And this could have two meanings. One, that either he was so sure that you will definitely get your camel load, right? The king doesn't break his promise. When he says he's going to give your camel load, you'll get that. Or it could also mean, وَأَنَا بِهِ زَعِيمٌ, that I'm definitely sure it was one of you guys who did it. So step up. قَالُوا تَاللَّهِ, right? And they said, we swear by Allah. Right, and this is a very strong swear. Like it's a like when you're very shocked. That's when when it's used in the Quran. Tallahi, laqad alimtum ma ji'na linufsida fil ard. Right, we swear by Allah. لقد alimtum, you know ma ji'na linufsida fil ard, that we did not come to make mischief on the land. We did not come to spread corruption. وما كنا سارقين, and we have nor have we ever been thieves. Right? وَمَا كُنَّا صَادِقِينَ, and this is showing like that. No, we're not thieves. Like, you have it all wrong. قَالُوا فَمَا جَزَاؤُهُ إِن كُنتُمْ كَاذِبِينَ. And so the cops, now they're saying, okay, what's the punishment if you are indeed liars? If you are lying, if you are thieves, then what's your punishment? قَالُوا جَزَاؤُهُ مَنْ وُجِدَ فِي رَحْلِهِ فَهُوَ جَزَاؤُهُ. And so they said, now this is the brothers, they are responding and telling the cops, the alarm sounders, that the punishment's going to be. And they said, if it's the punishment is whose ever bag it was found, right? Man wujida fi rahlihi fahuwa jazauhu, then he himself will be the punishment, meaning he will be enslaved. The person who stole will now be enslaved. And some of us even mentioned that this was actually from the Sharia of Yaqub alayhi salam that was given to him. Right? That at that time the law was that whoever stole, they would be enslaved to that master. كَذَلِكَ نَجْزِي الظَّالِمِينَ, and this is how we punish wrongdoers. Right? So they're saying this in our part of the town where we came from, this is how we punish the wrongdoers. فَبَدَأَ بِأَوْعِيَتِهِمْ. Right? And so now the search starts. Right? And so he started with their bags, meaning their bags, right? The rest of the brothers. قبل وعاء أخيه, before the bag of his brother. Meaning, so he's like, okay, start from there. Start with the oldest one, right? And work your way down. So he wanted to make it look really real. So he didn't just go to the Binyamin's bag and say, oh, found it. No, they searched. They searched all the other ones until they got to the bag of his brother, وعاء أخيه. ثم استخرجها من وعاء أخيه. And then they استخرج, it's not even أخرجها من وعاء. Then they searched and they found it from the bag of his brother. كذلك كدنا ليوسف. And this is how we planned for Yusuf. Now this is interesting that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala interjects this statement in between the search that was going on to find the missing goblet or the missing cup, right? And to show that, like what kind of a person is Yusuf that he's plotting against his own brothers. So here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala interjects and he says, كَذَلِكَ كِدْنَا لِيُوسُفَ. This is how we plotted. This is not that something that you can even give credit to Yusuf alayhi salam for having come up with, and then the brothers saying that, oh yeah, whoever stole the cup, they're going to stay. No, this is Allah's plan. We just gave the wahi to Yusuf alayhi salam to put the cup in the bag, and the rest Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it work out like that, right? Because Yusuf alayhi salam didn't know that the brothers are going to get asked that what's going to happen to the one who's going to steal, and that the brother's going to respond that whoever stole it, they're going to stay. No, this is Allah's plan. مَا كَانَ لِيَأْخُذَ أَخَاهُ فِي دِينِ الْمَلِكِ. And he had no right to take his brother according to fi din al-malik, and according to the constitution of the king, right? Illa an yasha Allah, unless Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala so willed. So this further shows that Yusuf alayhi salam could not just have exposed himself in the sense that he would have just said to his brother, okay, you're staying back, right? Because at that time that it wouldn't have been permissible, and so he had to come up with a way to allow for his brother to be able to stay back with him. So now this plan, it unfoiled. It happened, but it wasn't something that Yusuf basically put in action. It was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is, we elevate the ranks of whom we will. وَفَوْقَ كُلِّ ذِي عِلْمٍ عَلِيمٍ. And there is, and above every man of knowledge, there is someone more knowledgeable. وَفَوْقَ كُلِّ ذِي عِلْمٍ عَلِيمٍ. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is kind of like putting everyone at place here. Right? It's such a powerful statement to recognize that even as smart as Yusuf was, even as smart as you and I think we are, as we're putting the perfect plan into motion, وَفَوْقَ كُلِّ ذِي عِلْمٍ عَلِيمٍ, there is above every man who is knowledgeable, there is someone who is more knowledgeable. قالوا إن يسرق فقد سرق أخ له من قبل. And his brother said, right? If so, this is the brothers, right? So they're saying إن يسرق فقد سرق أخ له من قبل. If he's a thief, he had a brother, and he was also a thief before him. And you can just imagine what Yusuf is going through, right? They're just ratting out his brother. They're basically throwing him under the bus, but they have the audacity to go back and say, "Saraqa akhun lahu min qabl," that this brother that he had, he's just like him, who also used to just steal. فَأَسَرَّهَا Yusuf, and Yusuf kept his secret to himself. Right? He could have been boiling with anger, right? Because he is from that family that is being talked about, right? And to his face, they're saying this, and he has every right to be mad at this moment, right? فَأَسَرَّهَا Yusuf, and he just, it took every ounce of energy, but he took it inside. في نفسه ولم يبدها لهم, and he did not show anything. He did not reveal anything to them. قال أنتم شر مكانا, and he said, you are in a far worse situation. Right? So he's telling them, you guys are claiming that this dude is a thief and his brother's like that and stuff, but he's basically saying, you guys are in what's worse than that. وَاللَّهُ أَعْلَمُ بِمَا تَصِفُونَ, and God knows, Allah knows best the truth about what you claim. قَالُوا يَا أَيُّهَا الْعَزِيزُ. So now, like, okay, enough with that, brother. يَا أَيُّهَا الْعَزِيزُ, oh beloved governor. Oh beloved governor. إِنَّ لَهُ أَبًا شَيْخًا كَبِيرًا. He definitely has a very old father, elderly father, right? Aban Shaykhan would have been enough. He had an elderly father. Aban Shaykhan Kabiran, he has a very old, fragile father. فَخُذْ أَحَدَنَا مَكَانَهُ. Then, take any one of us in his place. We're probably better suited to help you anyway. Right? إِنَّا نَرَاكَ مِنَ الْمُحْسِنِينَ. And we see that you are a good, kind-hearted man. You are a very good man. قَالَ مَعَاذَ اللَّهِ. And he said, for God forbid. Right? God forbid. أَن نَأْخُذَ إِلَّا مَنْ وَجَدْنَا مَتَاعَنَا عِنْدَهُ. That we shall take anyone other than the person on whom we found our property. The one who stole from us, that it's rightful that we only take him. That's by your law. That's by what you guys said. إِنَّا إِذَنْ لَظَالِمُونَ. And that would be unjust of us. If we did that, we would be in the wrong. فَلَمَّا اسْتَيْأَسُوا مِنْهُ خَلَصُوا نَجِيًّا. So when they lost hope in him, right? They tried arguing with him, they tried begging him, they tried to work anything out of him, but they saw that the Aziz is not going to budge on this condition, right? خَلَصُوا نَجِيًّا. Then they went aside and they started consult each other. They're like, okay, we gotta brainstorm. What are we gonna do? قَالَ كَبِيرُهُمْ. Then the eldest of them said, أَلَمْ تَعْلَمُوا أَنَّ أَبَاكُمْ أَلَمْ تَعْلَمُوا أَنَّ أَبَاكُمْ قَدْ أَخَذَ عَلَيْكُمْ مَوْثِقًا مِنَ اللَّهِ وَمِنْ قَبْلِ. He said, do you not know that your father has taken a pledge from you in the name of Allah, has taken such a powerful pledge? وَمِنْ قَبْلِ. And it's something that we've already taken. Right? So now he is trying to talk some sense into these guys. He's like, you guys realize you took a pledge with your father that you're not gonna go and come back without your brother. ما فرطتم في يوسف. Right? That while we had already fell short of expectation when we took that for Yusuf alayhi salam. When we took that pledge for Yusuf, we already fell short of that pledge. We weren't able to fulfill our commitment to our father once before already. فَلَنْ أَبْرَحَ الْأَرْض. Right? And sorry, one thing to note, مَا فَرَّطْتُمْ فِي يُوسُف. when you guys left, fell short of the expectations of Yusuf, he's actually turning on his brothers, right? Farratum, like you guys are the ones who neglected to fulfill your pledge about Yusuf. You wanted to kill him. Falan abrah al-ard, right? Then I will never leave this land. Abrah al-ard, I am gonna stay here. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna take a single step out of here. Hatta ya'dana li abi aw yahkum Allahu li. Until my father permits me or Allah decides for me, right? Because he knew that they knew Yaqub alayhi salam was a prophet, that Yaqub alayhi salam could make the request to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then it would be alleviated for them, right? وَهُوَ خَيْرُ الْحَاكِمِينَ, and he is the best of all judges. So now the eldest one, he turns to the rest of the 9 brothers that are left now, and he says, you know, guys, this is all on you guys now. You guys were the ones who already you guys got rid of Yusuf. And now we took another pledge, and now another time, I can't face that. I'm not leaving here. Irji'u ila abikum. So go back to your father, right? Faqulu, and say, Ya abana, inna banaka saraqa. Oh father, your son has committed theft, right? You're definitely your son that he's committed theft. وَمَا شَهِدْنَا إِلَّا بِمَا عَلِمْنَا. And we do not testify except for what we know. Right? We do not testify except for what we know. بِمَا عَلِمْنَا وَمَا كُنَّا لِغَيْبِ حَافِظِينَ. And we cannot guard against the unseen. We have no control over the unseen. And so we told you that we would guard him, but we could not. But we didn't know he was going to steal. That was from the unseen. And then another meaning could be that ما كنا للغيب حافظين, is that we didn't know he was the one who stole, right? Because we are the one who blurted out that the policy is going to be whoever stole is going to take him. If we knew that it was him and we had previously already know that he was going to do that, we would have chosen maybe one of us to do that. So they're basically trying to come to the dad and explain to the situation. وَاسْأَلِ الْقَرْيَةَ الَّتِي كُنَّا فِيهَا وَالْعِيرَ. And now they're not even going to the whole state of apology of saying, you know, we know that you're not going to believe us and stuff like that. But they just said, وَاسْأَلِ الْقَرْيَةَ. Ask the people of the town. You know, where you can go back and you can ask them. There was a huge scene, الَّتِي كُنَّا فِيهَا وَالْعِيرَ, in which we have gone. And you can ask the caravan that we came back with, right? الَّتِي أَقْبَلْنَا فِيهَا. The one that we were there with. Because it was not like just, you know, the brothers go and get their ration of food. No, everybody in town needs food. So there's a whole caravan that goes. And so they went and they probably all also saw. So he says, they're saying, go and ask the caravan, the rest of the caravan members. This is what happened. وَإِنَّا لَصَادِقِينَ. And we are definitely truthful. We're telling you the truth about this one. قَالَ بَلْ سَوَّلَتْ لَكُمْ أَنفُسَكُمْ أَمْرًا. And now Yaqub alayhi salam, he's responding to them, right? And he says the same thing. سَوَّلَتْ لَكُمْ أَنفُسُكُمْ أَمْرًا. Your inner desire, it rationalized for you what you have done. In the most essence way, basic way of putting it, you rationalized for yourself an evil that you have committed. فَصَبْرٌ جَمِيلٌ. Right? Patience, the best patience. And this is just the type of person that Yaqub alayhi salam, at this point, he knew that arguing with them, going back and forth with them is not going to help. And he just puts فَصَبْرٌ جَمِيلٌ. I just have to have good patience. عَسَى اللَّهُ أَن يَأْتِيَنِي بِهِمْ جَمِيعًا. And he says, I am hopeful, perhaps Allah will bring them together. Meaning the two of them. إِنَّهُ هُوَ الْعَلِيمُ الْحَكِيمُ. And he is all-knowing and all-wise. وَتَوَلَّى عَنْهُمْ. And so he turned away from them. Right? It's key to note. He now turns his attention away from them. وَقَالَ يَا آسَفَ عَلَى يُوسُفَ وَابْيَضَّتْ عَيْنَهُ. And he said, and he turned far away from them. He said, how sad am I? Right? Asafa is when you have anger and grief and you can't change the situation. If you have anger, but you can change the situation, that's ghadab. Right? Asafa is, you know, it hurts, but you can't do anything about it. So ya asafa ala Yusuf, and he is feeling this sadness and grief about Yusuf. And wabyadat aynahu, it's it's a way to say that he lost his sight. His eyes went white. His eyes turned white with sorrow. من الحزن, out of sorrow. فهو كظيم, and he was suppressing himself, meaning he was suppressing his grief and anger and frustration. And it was like kadim is like when it's all the way up to your nose and it's there and it's bottling up basically. So he's basically like, really just bummed out about what has happened. But at the same time, he's to the people, to his sons, he says فَزَبْرٌ جَمِيلٌ, and he complains to Allah, right? And قَالُوا تَاللَّهِ, and they said, by God, right? Like, so the sons are still, the father turned away and he's doing his own thing, but the sons are like, oh my God, Dad, how long are you going to be caring about Yusuf for? How long are you going to be crying about Yusuf for? Right? تَذْكُرُ يُوسُفَ, by God, you shall stop remembering Yusuf. حَتَّى تَكُونَ حَرَدًا, right? Unless what you're gonna collapse. You're gonna get so sick that you're gonna get close to death. Haradan is like, you're on the verge of death. أو تكون من الحالكين, or you're gonna perish. You're just gonna collapse and pass away. قال إنما أشكو بثي وحزني إلى الله, and he said, I shall complain. إنما أشكو, right? I'm gonna complain. بثي وحزني, my anguish, my prolonged sorrow. Bathi is something for a long time, right? And that's the sorrow of Yusuf alayhi salam. So bathi relating to Yusuf, wahuzni, and the grief, the new grief that I have. That meaning my other son Binyamin, ila Allah, to Allah alone. Wa'alamu min Allahi ma la ta'lamun, and I know from Allah what you do not know. Right? Ya bani, idhabu fatahassasu min Yusuf. And so now the following year has come. Now the next year has come, and he's telling his sons, go, and they're going to go to get their ration, the annual ration of food. And so he's saying, as you go, idhab fatahassasu min Yusuf, search for Yusuf wa akhihi, and his brother, wala tayasu min rawhillah, and do not grieve, or do not lose hope in the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Rawh is very similar to rahmah, right? One of the words for mercy. And it also, the word for rih is wind, right? The nice, beautiful breeze. إِنَّهُ لَا يَيْأَسُ مِنْ رَوْحِ اللَّهِ. And in fact, only the disbelievers, right? The ones who lose hope, they are the ones who lose hope in Allah. إِلَّا قَوْمُ الْكَافِرُونَ. The ones who lose in hope in Allah are only the ones who are the disbelievers. فَلَمَّا دَخَلُوا عَلَيْهِ. And when they came to him, right? فَلَمَّا دَخَلُوا عَلَيْهِ, now they came upon him. قَالُوا يَا أَيُّهَا الْعَزِيزُ. O Aziz. مَسَّنَا وَأَهْلَنَا الدُّرُّ. So something like distress has befallen us, and our family is in very difficult, economically tough times. We're having financial distress. وَجِئْنَا بِبِضَاعَةٍ مُزْجَةٍ. And we brought with you a very small amount. Muzjatin is very insignificant goods. فَأَوْفِي لَنَا الْكَيْلِ. But can you please just give us the full measure for it? Right? So they're basically trying to get charity from the Aziz. وَتَصَدَّقْ عَلَيْنَا. And actually add a little more in terms of charity for us. إِنَّ اللَّهَ يَجْزِي الْمُتَصَدِّقِينَ. Surely Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He rewards those who give charity. Right? So they're playing that card with him. And they're saying, just help us out a little bit. We're such in financial hardship, and give us a little bit extra. قَالَ هَلْ عَلِمْتُمْ مَا فَعَلْتُمْ بِيُوسُفَ وَأَخِيهِ. And so now the Aziz, right, he responds to them and he says, do you know what you did to Yusuf and his brother? إِذْ أَنْتُمْ جَاهِلُونَ. When you were acting in an ignorant way. Right? So now Binyamin has spent the whole year with Yusuf salam, and he's told them all the things that happened, all the ways he was bullied by his brothers as well. And so now Yusuf salam, he says to them, do you know what you did to Yusuf and his brother when you guys were in a state of ignorance? قَالُوا أَإِنَّكَ لَأَنْتَ يُوسُف. And now they realize, they look closer and they're like, أَإِنَّكَ لَأَنْتَ يُوسُف. Are you really Yusuf? قَالَ أَنَا يُوسُف وَهَذَا أَخِي. And now Yusuf salam, he opens the gates. He lets the cat out of the bag. He says, Ana Yusuf. وَهَذَا أَخِي. I am Yusuf and this is my brother. قَدْ مَنَّ اللَّهُ عَلَيْنَا. Certainly Allah has blessed us. Allah has been very kind to us. إِنَّهُ مَن يَتَّقِي وَيَصْبِرْ. Surely whoever fears Allah and he is patient, right? Look at what Yusuf has been through. Look at all the difficulties he's been through, right? Wasbir, and he's patient. فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُضِيعُ أَجْرَ الْمُحْسِنِينَ. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not let waste the reward of a good doer. The one who is committed to doing good, ihsan. The one who's committed to doing ihsan, right? So the lesson here is so amazing, and the story of him, what he's going to be dealing with his brothers is just starting, right? And we're seeing the level of mercy that he has, because most of us, if in those shoes, we would have been telling them, hey, look who's on top now, look who is in the upper hand, and you know what I'm going to do with you guys, right? But rather, look at the way Yusuf alayhi salam says, قَدْ مَنَّ اللَّهُ عَلَيْنَا. Allah has blessed us. He immediately remembers the favors of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala upon him. And he immediately recognizes the patience that's needed to be in that position. So we pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He gives us the qualities of Yusuf alayhi salam, the patience that he had bestowed, and the perseverance and the hilm, the forbearance, to deal with such arrogant, boastful, ignorant brothers and siblings and family members, and to deal with them in such a loving manner. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.